moving to another topic, that is security. Is security still the great ghost in the machine when it comes to cloud? Do people say, hey, it's on the inside of the firewall, I feel nervous, or are people getting past the idea of security? Or, and more importantly, how should they view security in the cloud?
Well, I think that security is progressing along a track that we could have predicted, which is when cloud computing first arrived, a lot of people looked at it and frankly said, this is a threat to my job, so what are all the concerns I can raise about it? Or what about security? And as people adopt it more, get value from it more, those things are perceived as being answered. I'm not sure the answers are any different or any better or more secure than they were a year ago or 2 years ago. What's happened is people have just gotten used to it, or frankly, in a lot of companies, it's been, we've got an app, or we got a new business offering, it's going to go in the cloud environment. We're just going to live with the way it is because we need the benefits so much that we'll live with whatever theoretical drawbacks there are. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't know that those things have been solved so much as accepted and understood and addressed and moved on from.
So there's still the sense that if it's in the cloud, it's going to be less safe. We're going to keep the real corporate formulas, the formula for Coca-Cola, for example. We're going to keep that in-house and not put that in the cloud.
Yes, well, how many? I guess my comment is always how many companies have the formula for Coca-Cola. In that. I mean, I just think that kind of formulation of or that characterization of we have this super secret stuff that. And cloud is not as safe, not as secure as what we've got. I've worked around a lot of IT organizations and seen a lot of horror stories around security, and so I'm pretty skeptical of that. If we do it, it's good, and if they do it, it's bad.
Right. Tom, security, and part of what load balancing about is relation to security. What's your take on cloud and security?
Well, I agree with Bernard again on this. I think my premise has always been if you believe you're secure behind a firewall with your data, then you're probably beginning the conversation on a false premise. And so while the cloud is not magic, I think that's the other kind of mistake that we see is that suddenly you have elasticity of all this capacity, so then there you won't fail. The same would be applied to security, that you still have to protect your data in the right way, and the cloud doesn't solve anything magically, but nor does the solutions that are currently existing behind your firewall either. I mean, we've seen enough hacks and enough attacks on systems around the world that suggest that we don't live in a protected garden where we live in a glass house that is easily exploited. So I think you've got to extend that to if you're using the cloud for sensitive data, you've got to extend it in that way. But whether or not you're more risky or not, I don't buy into it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Michael, what about...
I agree with Tom, James. I absolutely agree with Tom. The same things that apply to within the firewall apply to outside the firewall. Always have, always will. And so, we've gone from developers with servers under their desk to servers in the cloud. And so if you don't have the policies and the compliance issues and the, kind of the rules of the road when it comes to the cloud, then you're exposing yourself to needless risk. And so the idea when you do your roadmap is to figure out how to de-risk the proposition. What are the things that you can do? Because quite frankly, if you ask me, what I'm reading these days, here, cloud computing law. All right, so I mean that's my fun, right? That's my holiday read.
Better than a glass of warm milk before you to bed at night.
that's what the writer told me. So it's but that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with who's liable for what. Data privacy, security issues, indemnification. You go down the list, and these are all the issues that I think organizations need to deal with, because the rules and the policies and the laws, perhaps, that were true may not be applicable in this new environment. And so it really requires a lot of thinking, I think, on the part of organizations, and it's not just Wild West.